Neither of us have ever seen any He-Man before, so I guess we best catch up a little before the new movie next week. Oh, what's that? The Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe movie from 1987 isn't a good representation of the franchise? Anyway, here's the review. Welcome everyone to the Atomic Cinema Experiment. I am Peter, and joining me as always is David.
I come in peace.
It took every fibre of my being to remember to say Atomic Cinema Experiment and not Extra Reels at the start of that introduction, by the way.
What? Peter, spoilers.
For those of you who don't know, Extra Reels is a show we do once a month on Patreon, where we review some of the worst movies ever made. And frankly, when you start your movie off with a canon intro, the Canon Globus group, you know kind of which level of quality you're in for. That's what this is. So we're here today to talk about He-Man, or actually that's incorrect, that's not what the movie's called. It's just called Masters of the Universe. I apologize. Yes. From 1987, and this was the Dolph Lundgren led version, made for cheap when He-Man was, I guess, at the height of its popularity cartoon-wise?
Roundabout, sure.
Yeah, I think it debuted in like 83, 84, so...
Yeah, but, you know, cartoon doesn't last that long, so... Yes, it was around the height.
Well, true, but like, cartoons did this weird thing where they'd have only like 2 seasons, but each season would be like 60 episodes, and then they'd repeat them for years and years, so I would say it's still fairly in the zeitgeisty era of He-Man.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. And I mean, He-Man also had tons of spin-off with like She-Ra and like crossovers with that. So I mean, I will say that looking at the list here, the original series ran from 83 to 85, She-Ra ran from 85 to 87, and then there was a gap where nothing was airing until 1990.
Okay.
Which that looks like a goddamn anime, so I don't think that's the one anybody thinks of in 1990.
So let's just get this out of the way. I have never seen a single episode of He-Man in my life. It was not a thing in the UK when I was growing up. Maybe it was in the 80s, because this obviously this is actually a bit before my time. Believe it or not, I'm not that old. But when I was growing up, there was other things from the 80s, like Transformers was definitely on, right? Ninja Turtles was huge. Power Rangers was the big thing, you know, kind of when I was that 5-6 age, and I was really getting into something. He-Man was just never a thing, and I don't know if it's because it was in the 80s and just didn't stick around, or if it just wasn't popular in the UK at all, but either way, like, it was never, like, I vaguely heard of it through, I don't know, internet osmosis at some point.
Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right, it gets brought up in Ghostbusters 2. Very good. Pop culture references.
That's it, that's where it's at. Yep.
What was your history with the original He-Man?
The original He-Man, that one viral video where they sing What's Going On by Four Non-Blondes. I will say there was a revamp, there was a re-release of like a new cartoon. I think that was around early 2000, something like that. I got a few episodes of that, but it was not something I was heavily invested in. But it made me at least aware of He-Man lore, aware of like the general vibe of the character and all that, and it just felt like an advanced toy commercial. That's all it ever felt like. It felt like, you can go out and buy He-Man dolls now.
Yeah, well, that was kind of what cartoons were in the 80s once the rules changed, where you could make shows that were to advertise toys, and you got He-Man and Transformers out of that. I think Transformers is inherently just a cooler idea, because it's like, hey, the toys can literally transform from vehicles to robots.
Yeah. I will say, in preparation for this, I did look up like the original toy line just to see like what was offered, what was actually the thing that kids were getting. And it turns out He-Man, as far as I'm aware, its whole thing was that like it was a buff looking character, had maybe like posable arms, but the torsos had like spring loaded action. So like you wind them back and then they flip forward with like a hit or something like that, and it would knock the weapons out of the other person's hand or whatever.
Okay.
Not as interesting as Transformers, I'll give you that. But they at least weren't just normal ass action figures with nothing special.
But at least with Transformers, and I'm not like, I've seen hardly any of the original Transformers anime. I've seen like maybe 2 episodes growing up, but At least with Transformers, though, I'm like, okay, I can tell why you'd build an entire show around the idea of these things that can't transform. Like, I can see how that can become, like, the thing. But it's not like, I don't know, He-Man's got a hell of a swing, just like his toy. Like, it's not how they kind of frame it.
Yeah.
As far as I know,
he has
anyway.
the power. It's literally just, I think, rule of cool, and like the fact that this movie, which we will still eventually get to, this movie does a decent job of showing off what I think is the main thing of the toy line, which is just the breadth of interesting characters, where they've all got their own little quirks and stuff like that, and kids will absolutely eat that up. Of like, oh, my action figure has this cool thing about him and all that sort of stuff. So I get the appeal of the toy line from the viewpoint of they're all slightly different variations on the same generally cool thing, and that's the same thing that Transformers has going forward as well.
Yeah, so why are we doing this is maybe a question people are asking.
Sadism.
On multiple fronts. Well, I mean, number one, it is kind of a weird blend of sci-fi and fantasy sorcery stuff, because it's on another planet, there's laser guns, there's definitely very knockoff looking stormtrooper looking dudes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So, and you know, we have portals and other sci-fi things, but then you also have the sword and sorcery stuff, which is how He-Man looks, and the swords, and like they talk of magic and all that. So on genre front, it does fit Ace well enough. So that's that, but that's not why we're doing it. You may be thinking, oh, we're doing this because the new one's coming out and we wanted to, you know, do both the original and the old one, or the new one. And I'd get why you would think that, but I don't think either of us had any interest in seeing the new movie. So that's...
I have this firm memory in my mind of this being on the schedule and then not being on the schedule, and me having a sigh of relief of thank God I don't have to spend money to go see Masters of the Universe in theaters.
I just decided against it. I was like, I have no attachment to this IP. I don't think it sounds particularly interesting, and I don't think you cared either. I was like, yeah, I'll just remove it. Then out of nowhere, a couple months ago, I was streaming, as I often do, on Twitch, and someone said, what would it take to get the 2 Masters of the Universe movies done on Ace? And I'm like, well, cold hard cash works. A goal was set, the goal was met, and we are here today to talk about Masters of the Universe.
Let me just, hold on one second. I don't have any Venmo notifications, Pete.
It's it's on its way. It has to clear taxes first.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll be expecting that by the time this review is done.
Yes. Don't worry. Yeah. I will give you the budget that Canon spent on making this movie. Right. That's the payment.
Oh, okay. I'll be sure to send you the money then. Jesus. Tax rebates or something made this a negative budget.
Oh dear. So that's why we're doing it, right? This is fulfilling a promise, an obligation.
Life debt.
Yes. But hey, out of the 2 of the movies, this one and the new one, which we'll be doing next episode, this is the one I was more interested in watching, just because, hey, it's the cheesy 80s one with Dolph Lundgren and a young Courtney Cox. Like, inherently, I'm just going to be more amused by this, in theory. Like, now, admittedly, once I've seen the new one next week, maybe I'll completely change my tune and say that was way more interesting. But
I'm having flashbacks to when we did the Super Mario movies. Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I think we're flipped on this, though, where at the very least, I had some attachment to Nintendo as a franchise, like Mario and all that sort of stuff. I had some attachment. I don't think He-Man, like seeing that new one in theaters, it's going to push me away from the franchise more so than me going there being like, at least it was for the fans.
Based on that comparison, I would like to make one thing perfectly clear. The 1993 Mario Brothers is a much better movie than this He-Man movie.
Technically, yes.
It's more entertaining.
I will agree.
It's weirder. It's more interesting.
No, I'll give you that.
It's not
Do we
boring.
want to jump into thoughts? Because, like, I got thoughts.
Yeah, we're getting into it. It's a fish out of water story. He-Man and his friends get transported to Earth in the middle of their big battle with Skeletor, and they run into teenage Courtney Cox and her boyfriend, and hilarity ensues.
Shenanigans.
Also,
hijinks.
Principal Strickland from Back to the Future's a cop.
Dude, that threw me off. So I was like, is that Strickland? He's almost like, he's got more personality here, but he's still the same character.
Pretty much. Yeah, it feels... I mean, you actually do see him with a gun in 2 of the Back to the Futures, because one, he's got a gun in the alternate bad timeline, and also he has one in the Old West. But this is like, modern day 1980s Strickland. And I'm like, it still feels right to see him with a gun. He just feels like the sort of guy who'd be angry and waving a gun at people. It fits him.
Absolutely. The only thing that's different is he's not telling everyone like how they have a bad attitude and they need to shape up.
He never says the word slacker, and that
there you go. That's it.
Throw me off a little bit, but so he's there. But that's the premise. And I guess we'll ask the question, David. What did you think of this movie that I fell asleep to like 3 times?
We're filming this on a different day than originally intended because Pete messaged me 5 minutes before filming being like, I passed out. I'm not going to be able to finish it. And I'm like, okay. No, this is not a good one. This is a really... And here's the thing. It's not even funny bad for the most part. There are like a couple things that you could point to and be like, oh yeah, that's entertainingly bad.
The sad part is though, is you can see a more entertaining but still bad version of this movie that has all the same ingredients. It's just a more interesting script. And probably the big reason why it's as dull as it is the low budget. It is probably the fact that when we get fight scenes, we're in like a warehouse area surrounded by cardboard boxes. There's no choreography, all that sort of stuff. It feels so... I was like struggling to stay awake like multiple times watching this.
It's horrible. This movie, and I mean, based off of what I'm seeing in like trivia and history and stuff like that, this movie never gave a shit about the cartoon. Because the cartoon, like, does stuff to flesh out the lore, and it like comes up with its own stuff. Like, let me ask you this, having not seen the cartoon. When He-Man is not being He-Man, who do you think he is? Like, what is his occupation? What does he do?
Well, based on this movie, I didn't think there was a time when he wasn't being He-Man. I thought he was just a warrior on this other planet the entire time.
You'd think so, but no, he specifically becomes He-Man when he takes the sword and goes, I have the power. Before that, he's a dude named Prince Adam, who is the Prince of Eternia, and, like, is just an otherwise buff but normal guy. Like, they have no care at all for what became the He-Man lore, and they just felt like, oh, we got the rights to the action figures, and we're just going to do whatever we feel like with that. And of course, they have to say the line of, I have the power, but that was in the toy commercials as well. That wasn't even something the cartoon came up with. So honestly, it just feels like someone who had no attachment to the IP, got the rights to it, slapped the most boring imaginable plot on top of it. And I'm just going to say this right here from this point forward. I don't care how original it was with it. If we ever do a fish out of water story, -1 point. If the fish out of water story ends up in California or New York, -2 points. Because I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. I hate this plot. It's so played out and boring to me now. And I can't even remember his name now. I have the IMDb pulled up. Hold on. It is Gwildor. I hate Gwildor. I want Gwildor to burn. I hate him so much. He is just the worst. So not good, Pete. I don't particularly care for this movie.
Can't believe he came out so strongly against the little ginger. I mean, the little Connor running around doing hijinks.
No, this is what gives gingers a bad name. This is the character.
I don't necessarily have a problem with fish out of water stories as long as you have a story within that fish out of water. This does not. This like there's no relationship that forms between He-Man and Courtney Cox's character. In fact, is He-Man even the main character of this? Really? Because there's stretches where he's not on screen. It doesn't feel like he's making any definitive choices. He's just part of the team. And even Courtney Cox's like character and her boyfriend kind of feel I don't know, it kind of feels like everyone gets shortchanged, so no one feels like the protagonist. And that's a really weird feeling, where you just sort of feel like you're in no man's land, where there's no sense of actual focus or momentum, which just all adds up to this, like, I'm sleepy and there's nothing to pay attention to, because nothing's important.
Yeah. If you pointed to the middle of the movie, I think I would say that Courtney Cox's boyfriend is the main character. Like, he takes over such a large portion of that middle bit, but outside of that, it's a toss-up. It could be anyone's movie. It doesn't feel like anyone gets the focus.
That's like specifically like a 15-minute portion in the middle. I can maybe agree with that, but it's only that one section.
I'd expand it, but fair enough.
It's very strange. It feels like a movie where it's like, the script's just designed to get to the bits we know we're going to do, but we've got no money to build the spectacle up to make it worth getting to those bits. So it just kind of feels like we're going to stand off and have this fight in a warehouse, or we're going to, go from location A to location B, and there's not much to it. Like, again, I could see a slightly better script.
Yeah.
And a slightly bit more money, making this still not a good movie, but like a fun, cheesy fish out of water story where there's actually, I don't know, like comedy and maybe some character relationships building up over the course of the movie. Like, maybe, like, if you're going to do it, then do not the full romance, but do the Starman of, like, the regular Earth Girl and He-Man kind of like bonding a little bit, and like her learn to trust them or something.
It is incredible to me how little care there is over the fact that there is this apparently distant planet and like other races and all this other stuff. Like, He-Man doesn't seem to give a shit about, and I'm saying He-Man is in all of the Eternia people, don't give a shit about the fact that there is an Earth and like all of the like weirdness that goes on there, save for one scene. And I don't think any of the humans care at all over the fact that there are interdimensional portals opening up left and right. No, it's everything just is like, we don't want to have to actually write a scene where characters react to the gravity of this. We're just going to have them kind of go, well, that's weird, and then move on, and that's all we ever get. It's completely lackluster in every sense of the word, and and that's why when you brought up those Mario Brothers movies, I'm like, 93 Mario Brothers, like, obviously, is a good adaptation of anything Mario Brothers? Obviously not. Is it a good movie in like the strict sense? No, probably not that either. But god damn, it is so interesting, and it's constantly doing things. It's constantly doing. It's like, they had an idea for this scene. They had an idea for this scene. It's constantly doing shit, even if you don't like what it's doing. This movie is the opposite. It's doing nothing the entire time. Yeah, I will agree. There's, on the surface, if you just look between the two, I think that it is a lot of similarities on the Venn diagram of like, it doesn't seem familiar with the IP, feels strangely low budget while also having strangely overproduced sections of it as well. Like, there's a lot of things going on there, but the major difference is this feels like a movie made by a studio that's just trying to cash out on the IP, whereas Mario Brothers felt like someone had a fever dream and they just wrote it down.
I mean, Mario Brothers had directors who cared about. I mean, they cared too much, and everyone hated them because they were a nightmare to work with, from all the accounts that I've heard over the years. Also, something I did not know about the Mario Bros. Movie that I just learned this past week actually is that at one point Tom Hanks was considered for Luigi, and he didn't turn it down. The studio decided to take him out of the running because his most recent movie at the time had bombed. And they thought, oh no, Tom Hanks isn't good enough for our Mario Brothers movie.
I mean, back during his early days when he was like lankier, I could see Luigi. I could see that working. Be an interesting one. It's
just funny though, because I feel like the rest of the 90s after the Mario Brothers was just him becoming like, the mainstay feel-good actor who's in all these big movies.
Are you telling me that the producers of the Mario Brothers movie may have made a bad decision at some point? Color me surprised.
Just one or two.
Yeah.
Just one or two. Went through about 8 directors before they settled on the 2 that everyone hated on set. Anyway, we're spiraling to talk about the Mario Brothers movie again, because this movie is so dull and uninteresting, and I actually like, as far as plot goes, it may be the quickest discussion we ever have once we get into spoilers, because absolutely nothing is going on in this movie. It's like stripped so much to the bare essentials that things are just not just about. I want to talk about something actually, right? So I think this is a spoiler. So Courtney Cox, her character, she is a teenager who's just finishing up school, give or take by the sounds of it. And she's got a boyfriend, but she's decided she wants to move to a big city and go and get away from this town because her parents both died tragically, and she's been feeling, sad ever since, blah, blah, right? Yep. When she actually brings up her backstory and she says, I want to tell you this, Kevin, it was my fault my parents died, this might be the most weirdly convoluted, like, how is this her fault reason I've ever heard, which is she was supposed to be going to the beach with her parents, but she decided she wanted to study and not go on the trip, so her parents decided to fly somewhere instead, and there was a plane crash. And I'm like, wait, so you not going with them made them take a plane? In fact, later on we find out her dad's the pilot, and he flies like a private plane. I didn't get that from when she first spoke. I just thought it was, a commercial flight. But yeah,
I mean, I feel like there was a line in there somewhere. So
there may have been,
but...
There may have been. But
I mean, look, if it comes to guilt, survivor's guilt doesn't have to make sense. It's true, just thrown out there. No, I was getting Gremlins flashbacks. I was getting like, oh, this is that story. Okay.
Yeah, but that's a weirdly dark story. That's like,
right.
Again, interesting. There's nothing. This is just like, that's not really like, how are you construing that? I mean, it's not even so much that it's not your fault. I just don't understand the logic of the parents going from, oh, she's not coming, we'll take a plane instead. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
No. I mean, it's maybe if like we saw a map and the fact that they do have like access to their own private plane or whatever like that. So be it. I just, it's one of those weird little writing things where it feels so contrived that like, it feels like there's a whole extra part of the plot that just got left out.
The thing is, though, is you were saying that Survivor's Guilt doesn't have to make sense, but Survivor's Guilt doesn't need it to be something she did that changed plans. It could just be as simple as she would have been on the plane too, and she would have also died, so she has Survivor's Guilt because she didn't get on the plane. But no, they have to extra twist it so that, no, she made a choice that led to the parents getting onto the plane in the first place.
Look, Pete, I don't want to spoil too much, but I have to say I'm 98% sure this scene exists so that the ending can make even the smallest bit of sense.
It doesn't, but
like they try. I think that's the only reason this is here.
It doesn't explain anything for the ending. It just sets up the bullshit they do at the ending. There's a difference.
Oh, okay. No, that's fair.
So, anyway, I mean, what else is there? I mean, performances. Dolph Lundgren. I love him. He's a great big, muscly cheesecake dude. But, leading man in your epic, he is not.
He looks the part.
Oh, in
terms of what He-Man looks like, he's oversized to that point. They do a good job with that. I've seen a lot of trivia facts that they were basically like, we're going to dub over you. We're not going to use your voice. And because it's canon, and because they're like, wait, hold on, that would cost money. They were just like, all right, well, I guess we're going to use his voice anyway.
Yeah, because I suppose, I mean, this was after Rocky 4, but it's not like... Yeah, because he obviously was Russian in that, right? So he got away with having a thick accent. Whereas,
that's it.
Yeah, but this is kind of before he was maybe like a staple where everyone just kind of accepted his voice. Like Arnold, like at a certain point, everyone's like, no, Arnold sounds like Arnold, and we all accept it, and everyone wants to hear him because we all like how he sounds. Maybe Lundgren hadn't quite gotten to that kind of stage by this.
I mean, if I'm looking at the list of credits prior to this, there is A View to Kill, where he played Venz, Rocky IV, Ivan Drago, James Brown's Living in America music video, where he played Ivan Drago, and then this. So there was literally zero time to be anything.
Was James Brown's Living in America a new song for Rocky IV?
Apparently.
I thought that was like an older song that they just used because it fit Apollo Creed's, hoorah entrance.
I mean, at least maybe it was James Brown covered the song, and that's new, but
maybe. Yeah,
at the very least, his version of it was new.
Interesting. I'm sorry, I'm tangenting into another movie again. Look at that.
No, let's talk about Rocky IV. So during the...
Not only are we tangenting into other movies, we're tangenting into movies that we already did episodes on. There's a whole episode on Rocky IV. There's a whole episode in Mario Brothers 93. Maybe
it's just because this movie feels so wholly unoriginal. I don't know.
That's the thing. It's not even just that it's unoriginal, though, and I really want to emphasize that. It's just so empty. It's the voice. Like if you were going to do all the tropes, and I can at least enjoy the cheesy acting and music or whatever, and like have a bit of 80s, like not nostalgia because I never knew about this at the time, but at least some like tertiary nostalgia. Like, oh, I like the vibe of what it is, even if I don't really.
It looks like an 80s film.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I'll say that. It looks like an 80s movie. So even though it has CW level fights in warehouses, I'm like, well, the costumes look a little bit higher budget. It's shot on film. It has a look, like, that's the nicest I can say about it.
Yeah, it's got that film glow to it. That's
yes.
1 point. 1/2 of a point. Congratulations.
Yes. But it's just cutting corners wherever it can. Obviously they've got a bunch of like villain action figures they want to do, so there's a whole team of bad guys that show up to like hunt the good guys at one point. There's like Lizard Man in helmet, there's like Monster Man, and there's like white-haired Monster Man and Blades. All I could think was like, oh, that's like if the Flash only had the wings on his ears but no mask.
Yeah.
That's basically what the Blade ears are.
Which you notice that he looks like visually uncreative, and that's also because he was one of the ones who was made solely for this movie. There was no Blade figure. They were like, yeah, we just need another guy.
Why?
I don't know. They did.
It's not like any of these characters get much time or fleshed out. They're just kind of in this little pack. Like, why do you need this other one?
I don't know. They wanted to have somebody with swords. Nobody else had swords.
Okay. Yep, we'll go with that.
And then I guess we should say our main crew as well, the good guys. We've got He-Man, Dolph Lundgren. Yes. We have Man-at-Arms, who is kind of just like honest to God, he strikes me as like technologically advanced Jim Gordon.
Okay.
Like that's just the vibe I'm getting from him. We have Teela, who's his daughter, and is just action chick. That's all she does. And then shortly after the movie gets started, we get introduced to Gwildor, who is the worst. That's just his category. He's the worst.
Yes, he's a little person, or technically I think he's probably got a race on this other planet because he's got like heavily makeup and stuff on. But he's very ginger, and he's like a little inventor dude, and that's his whole
He's the
thing.
Tech guy who literally caused all the problems of the movie, and yet nobody calls him out for it. And the Skeletor. We didn't even mention
the
Skeletor.
villain. Yeah, the villain. Frank Langella is here as Skeletor.
He's given it his all. I'll give him that. Like, he didn't just say, oh, this is a paycheck. He's at least putting in, like, I would say some effort here.
All I could think as I was watching him was like, oh god, we're going to have to watch Jared Leto do this like next week.
I've never been more happy to know that it's a fully CGI character and he's just doing the voice, because like I feel like he would have pushed for like no, put me in the prosthetics. Let's write something on my forehead.
I guess that means it'll just be an actual skeleton in the new one,
yes,
as opposed
as
to
he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
he is just a skeleton with red eyes.
Well, I understand why they didn't do that for this one, though.
Yeah, no, I'm look. It took me a moment to adjust. I was like, okay, that's supposed to be a skull, fair enough. But once I was there, I accepted it as the way the villain looked.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah, spoilers. What else is there to talk about? I mean, music's pretty forgettable, even though it's Bill Conti who did Rocky and Karate Kid. It's just very, very bland. Oh my god.
Dude, the opening title sequence is just Superman.
But like, a tenth of the price. Let's not ignore that part.
No. It's canon Superman, which, to be fair, was also releasing at the same time as this. But like, it's just Superman.
Yeah. It's colorful. The text zooms onto the screen very statically, though. There's not a lot of movement.
I do also trivia wise. Apparently, canon. We might have even talked about this during the Superman 4 Quest for Peace review. Is they released this movie and Superman 4 basically all on one production budget. Like, all of it shared one budget to be able to be made. And they were doing that under the specific hopes that both of them would make enough money that they can then turn around and use the profits to make canon Spider-Man, which they, I guess, had the rights to at this time. Didn't work out.
God, what would that look like? Jeez.
Not good.
It's funny, though, to think about that, though, and go, Superman 4 clearly had the bigger share of the budget. Because it did.
It was pretty established. They were able to like, oh, we can bank off that a little bit more.
Yeah. Even though it looked cheaper on the other Supermans, it looks more expensive than this movie does.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right. Spoilers for Masters of the Universe. Not that there's very much plot to spoil. Like I said, very desolate in that regard, but just mention it in case you happen to care. So, yeah, I mean, we start off on Eternia. Skeletor, sorry, he's went into Castle Grayskull. He's going to get the power, although the sorceress lady in white is holding him off until the next moonrise. I've never heard of moonrise before, like that being the phrase, but
yeah, this movie, especially the Eternia stuff, they got their own timekeeping system, and it's annoying as hell. Anytime a character's like, how long do we have until X, Y? They're like, oh, we have 24 peptons. So, okay, sure, whatever.
So He-Man and his rebellion are fighting on the outside in the desert lands, while Skeletor's plotting on the inside. He's like, has anyone killed He-Man yet? Hurry up and do that. I don't like him.
Well, no, they specifically, I can't even remember why, but Skeletor specifically is like, no, you have to leave He-Man alive.
Oh, true. He wants him to suffer and watch all the bad things he's going to do because he hates him. Yeah.
And like he says that once, but then later on, he doesn't care to remind the audience of that. He just keeps on reminding his henchmen, I want He-Man alive. And all I can think is, you want this oiled up buff guy wearing just a loincloth alive? Please tell me more, Skeletor.
So, yeah, they basically run into Gwildor, who's been like transported as a prisoner by these sort of black stormtrooper looking dudes who work for Skeletor. And they save him. He takes them back to his place. And the reason why he's so important and why Skeletor wants him is because he built this device that would allow basically teleportation. And he's held captive because they don't want anyone else replicating this. But what Skeletor doesn't know is that Gwildor's got a prototype in his apartment. So he takes all the group there. He's like, here's my magic music doohickey, the key, the cosmic key, or whatever we're calling it.
Yeah, they even make a point of saying like, oh yes, his race, his species are particularly good at locksmithing. And that's how he came up with a teleportation thing across time and space, because he's really good at locksmithing.
Well, space, I don't know about time. Well, until
much
later. Until much later.
Time.
But there's no time before then. It's all just space.
I think they say time and space at one point, but it's not like it matters. It's literally just open up a portal to or from Earth. Like, they don't change anything else about it.
Well, that's not how they use it at first. They use it just as a portal to get into the castle, which is also what Skeletor did.
That's
right?
True.
And they want to free the priestess lady with the magic, and she's like, no, I'm trapped in this bubble that Skeletor's put me in. A big fight breaks out, and it's like, hey, quickly make us a portal to get out of here, and Gwildor just taps in some keys, and he's like, I don't know where we're going, but let's just jump in. Voila, we go to Earth. And amusingly, when they jump in, they leave the cosmic key behind, but just at the last second, like a little grapple gun comes out of the portal and grabs it and pulls it in.
I'm genuinely curious about whether or not that was like an intentional shot, or if they shot like the big effects thing and then realized in post like, oh wait, he wasn't holding the thing when they went through the portal. He tossed it aside. Can we just like get some other like post-production, some reshoots and get that done?
Do you think they paid for reshoots on this movie?
I know for a fact they didn't. But I also don't understand why they did a whole thing of the grappling hook either.
I don't know, especially since if you just like, because it appears like away from them. It's not like they're holding it when they arrive, so you could easily just say, oh, it gets sucked into the portal and it landed somewhere else because they weren't holding it, and okay, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fish out of water stuff. They get spooked because a cow shows up and they're like, what's this alien beast? And then they split up, and this is where we start cutting around and we meet Courtney Cox, who's working at some little diner or whatever it is, some fast food place.
And it's almost like a very downer plot when we meet up with them, because she says she wants to move away from this town, but like she is also in a very loving relationship with her boyfriend Kevin, and like she's just like, no, I'm sorry, we have to break up. Like we've got to call it quits because I'm leaving the country. Like we got to stop this.
It's so weird though, because they really emphasize it for like 5 minutes that, okay, she's getting in a plane later that night, and he's like, hey, but you're not leaving till whatever time. Can you come and like see my rehearsal? Can we spend our last day together? Blah, blah, blah. And it sets you up. And obviously, yeah, at a certain point, once everything's going down, the idea of like leaving town on a plane to go to, you know, whatever city she's going to is going to be left behind. But you really would think that it was setting it up because, oh, there's going to be this, like, her trying to leave for several times until stuff really kicks off. But honestly, everything kind of interrupts and, like, gets going before she even has a chance to say it once. Oh, I need to go.
No, there's the idea of her leaving has absolutely zero bearing on the plot. Like, it does not come back up. Nobody cares about it. And also, just because you brought this up earlier, I remember thinking this, as they said in the movie, for all the survivor's guilt she has, it's kind of weird she's not afraid of flying. Yeah, that seems like the most obvious thing that you could tap into.
Well, you see, if her dad was flying the plane that crashed, then she's got comfort built in because, like, well, he's not flying this plane, so I'm okay.
It's not a fear of planes. It's a fear of my dad driving. Got it.
So... But yeah, like, they go to visit her parents' graves, and this is when she opens up about her guilt and whatever, and they find the cosmic rod thing, and he thinks it's a synthesizer, because he's a musician, you see, and to be fair, technically it does have buttons that make sounds in different pitches, and that's how you key it in to go wherever you're going, but he's like, oh man, it's this rad new synthesizer, I'm going to take it to my buddy who's, you know, owns a music shop, so... He takes her to the high school where he's going to be playing for the prom or whatever it is that's happening. And he ditches her and says, hey, I'm going to just, you know, it's down the street or you know, 5 minutes away. I'm going to go to my buddy who owns a music store and see what he thinks of the synthesizer thing. I'm going to leave you here on your own. And because they've turned on the thing, that's alerted the villains of where it is. So this is when Evelyn...
No, not Evelyn yet. They send the B squad first.
Oh, sure. She assembles the team, though, and sends them. And then the B squad of all these other C-listers all show up to try and Courtney Cox has to duck and dive and avoid some blasts. And then eventually runs into Dolph Lundgren, who's like, aha, I'm here to help you.
She's running down the street screaming, and like he's like, oh hey, what's going on? And it's just happenstance that's like, oh no, we're actually on opposite sides of this fight. It makes sense that we ran into each other. Tiny little things to just jump into. One of the first things we see with the fish out of water stuff, and this is I think tangential to them being in the high school, is we see everyone except He-Man is trying out fast food and trying out like ribs or whatever. Again,
the grappling hook comes into play. Little Gwildor steals a bucket of chicken. And they're really into it. But then the dad character, Man-at-Arms, points out that it's it's bone inside this food. And they're like, wait, this used to be an animal? This is a savage planet. But he's also just chowing down like it's normal. And I'm like, so what's the deal on your planet then? Like, is everyone vegetarian or not? Because honestly, I can't tell, because he seems to be quite cool with it.
He's respectful of other people's cultures, and he's not going to turn down our delicious food, whatever it may be.
To be fair, that's the end of the fish out of water stuff, to be honest. It never really comes up after that.
Pretty much. That's all it really is. But it's so annoying as it's happening. Like, it's padding for the sake of padding, and I just hate it. The other part of it is they have this effect on the universal key where anytime they hit the big red button, it causes just a bunch of lights to glow above it. And that seems to serve absolutely no purpose outside of that's how you know it's on. Like, everyone's just like, wow, cool. But like, it's not a portal in itself. It's not doing anything. It's just a bunch of lights.
It's the beginnings of the genesis of the start of a portal.
Yes,
that will
maybe.
Form
because they never actually show that.
Yeah. That's my only explanation for you. I don't really have much else to go on.
No,
but
fine.
But He-Man, kicks and swords a few of the bad guys. The others show up and they're like, hey, did you see this cosmic music thing? Do you have it? And she's like, no, but I know who does.
What a coincidence. I just had it.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the boyfriend goes to the music store. he's shown this off to his friend, but he hears on the news that there's been like some commotion at the high school and there's like fire trucks and police, and he's like, wait a minute, I left Courtney Cox there. Oh no, I have to run and see if she's okay. So when he's there looking to see if she's okay, he runs in to Strickland, who is the cop at the scene, and is like, wait, why are you hanging around here, kid? Who are you looking for? Where is she? Let's go to your girlfriend's place and find out. And I'll be honest, like, I feel like the way he like seems to get so involved with this kid, thinking that he's obviously like connected to something, just felt really weird to me. Like, oh, this is just trying to justify why he's hanging around so he can see other stuff.
No. It's the only way that it tries to make the connection is saying like, look, I just left my girlfriend here. I don't know where she is anymore. And it's that don't know where she is being an idea of, oh, she's the one who caused this, and then she fled the scene. But they don't harp on it. They don't spend any time with that. They just have him now being the pain in the ass who's going to make the main characters' lives harder, but not at the same level of Skeletor and his crew.
No, he's going to be the one who by the end of the movie converts and wants to help them, but that's the character. So
I mean, barely. He barely makes that arc.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying in another movie, that's absolutely who he is. In this movie,
in a better movie, for sure.
Yeah. In this movie, it's just kind of like, oh, he kind of inadvertently helped and then realized that, yeah, you were the good guys the whole time. Ta-da!
As it turns out, you can redirect his bloodlust, and he can actually be used as an asset.
So, yeah, like they're looking around to go to her place to try and find her.
The B team goes back to Eternia, and that's when Skeletor's like, all right, Evil Lynn, you step in, because I'm going to kill one of the B team, so we've got an opening. Yeah,
he kills the lizard one, sends them back to Earth, and they're like, okay, we're going to go find this stuff, I guess. And again, because anytime someone turns it on or uses it, they can tell where it is. Although apparently microwaves block the transmission.
Look, this is the only sequence I got any sort of like a chuckle out of, a mild interest out of, is this idea that as they're just chilling out waiting for Courtney Cox to return back home because she called on a payphone and like they did a secret code thing where like she relayed the information and said, just keep your hands on that key. We'll be over in a minute. They make some like fried chicken or something. They reheat some in the microwave, and then simultaneously Evil Lynn's stormtrooper guys is like, they've got some sophisticated masking technology, I can't get a lock on it, and she's like, blow it up, and then all of a sudden the microwave just explodes.
Yeah, so they can send a signal back that will destroy whatever's blocking the signal. That seems very powerful.
Absolutely. They're jamming the jammer.
But they fly in, they've got this little sort of hover car thing that they kind of fly around, and they come in. But by this point, Strickland's already left with the cosmic key thing, and they basically put this collar on the boyfriend and demand to get answers, and all they ever get is, oh, a policeman took it, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what this collar immediately struck me as like an obedience thing, like a truth, like the lasso of truth sort of stuff, but he keeps it on when the heroes show up, when they finally arrive at the place. And he's not just like being honest with them. It feels like he's got a full like mind whammy thing going on.
He's in
just
pain.
Like, yeah. So I don't know. Regardless, they show up, they take it off, and everyone realizes, oh, we're converging on Strickland.
And if it wasn't clear at this point, this movie is legitimately just a bunch of characters chasing a MacGuffin, like in the most sort of simplistic, like boring way possible, where they're trying to find it, the bad guys are trying to find it.
And also, to be clear, the MacGuffin is not needed for anyone to take power. Like, it is solely wanted by Skeletor and his crew because he wants to be the only one who has this power. But as long as he can wait out the clock until moonrise, he's going to win anyway. He does not need this device.
Which is why it makes so much sense that he decides to come through the portal himself in about 15 minutes.
If Skeletor did nothing, they would have won. Like, it's only because Skeletor got involved that he lost.
Yeah, so like there's a whole bunch of stuff here with, like, again, more shootout stuff. Like they get the cosmic key back, they run into Strickland, there's firefights.
The music shop gets destroyed.
Yeah, because Strickland's at the music shop and the bad guys show up and he basically tells them what to freeze and they all just blast the car in front of him and it blows up. and whatever else. And the good guy shop, there's a whole shootout from the inside of the music shop. And the big thing here is that while the action is going on out front, we focus way more in the regular humans who are just waiting in the... Like, Strickland is just in the back complaining that this World War III is happening outside, but we're not seeing any of that. And even when we do get a little glimpse of it, there's nothing interesting happening. It's just pop up, shoot, and that's all it is.
And the whole thing they're waiting in the back for is all the humans are surrounding Gwildor, who's just going tip, tap, tap, because I guess it takes 7,000 key entries to get a portal back open again.
Yeah. However, apparently Evil Lynn can, like, I guess look into your mind, see what would affect you, and then do a magic spell so she appears as your dead mother and convinces Courtney Cox to hand over the cosmic key. So, effectively, like, even if you were convinced this was your dead mother, wouldn't you go... That's really weird that you want me to get that for you, Mum. But okay, I'll go do that. And she does. And the second she hands it over, she turns into Evil Lynn, and then Courtney Cox sees what she's just done and screams, "No!"
If you want to show me a character who has absolutely no agency, show me Courtney Cox. Because, like, she does nothing in this movie. And that's the weirdest part, is when we first see her, you get all of the iconography and cinema language that she is going to be the one who, like, joins in on the action. That, like, one of the earliest scenes is during the fight of He-Man and the B-Squad. She picks up a laser and takes a shot.
Yeah.
And she's, like, helping along the fight. And that is the most she does. At no point at any later scene does she step up and do something more.
Even just like before that, she's the one with the trauma. She's the one who has to get over something. She has all the reasons to want to get involved and feel like she's accomplished something and help save someone. Blah blah blah. All of it's there, and yeah, they did nothing with her. She gets duped and then almost immediately gets injured and is just needing to be saved for the rest of the movie's runtime.
Yeah. So the moment that Evil Lynn picks up the thing, everyone finally is just like, oh wait, where's she at? And they start giving chase. Evil Lynn summons Skeletor, and for some godforsaken reason he's like, well, yeah, I want to go to Earth. I'll open up a portal, let's move on through. And so he does a whole braggadocious thing and sends a bunch of flying disc stormtroopers after He-Man and the squad.
So yeah, this is right after Evelyn, because I think he technically shows up just before she takes the glove, because it doesn't happen simultaneously. He kind of does it, and we ever so often cut back to him having this parade down the street and he's flying vehicle thing. But yes, when He-Man's trying to chase after Evelyn, or Evelyn, however you want to say it, because it's Evil-Lynn, but obviously it's a play on Evelyn.
The
just
dumbest name.
Yeah, but like he sees one of these stormtrooper dudes on this flying disc. He hits him off the disc. The disc is still sitting there, hovering, and he's like, "Aha! I'll have that." And to be honest, there's not a lot of bad effects in this movie, because for the most part, it doesn't try to do anything it can't get away with, right? It mostly
it's just
keeps
like
things
laser
simple.
shots and little glowing lights.
And they're
That's
fine,
all really is
right?
done.
Lasers are all fine in the movie. But the one thing that looks terrible and, dare I say, amusingly good in a bad way, is when he jumps on this flying disc thing and you get what just looks like a static action figure, like zooming down the street, you know, in the wide shots. When you get close-ups, of course, you get just him acting in front of a rear screen projection or whatever it is. But, you know, you get the wide shot, he's got this zoom going down the street. It's pretty funny.
I mean, it's I always think back to the behind-the-scenes footage of, I think it was Back to the Future 2, where it was the idea of, like, they would film a character on a blue screen, but they would have a computer-tracked, like, motorized camera, so it always followed the same movements around a character each time. So that way they could have blue screen, but also have this, like, making sense in camera, like, character turning sort of thing. And I think about that, and I think how revolutionary that was, and I look back at this, and I'm like, yep, that's why we needed it, because it's just a PNG in front of a blue screen.
Vroom.
It's not good.
The fight escalates to a rooftop where Courtney Cox gets hit in the leg with a zap from Skeletor. He-Man kind of accepts defeat, even though I don't really know why he's any more defeated than he was 10 minutes ago.
He literally just kicks everyone's ass and then turns to Skeletor and says, all right, you've got me. And it's like, okay.
Yep, no logic. And Skeletor promises not to hurt all of his friends, including the humans, if he becomes Skeletor's slave. And He-Man agrees, and they're all upset by it, but he goes off with Skeletor. Skeletor keeps his word for now. Obviously, he turns on it quite quickly later on, but at least for now, he's like, no, I'll agree to this so that you have to obey and keep your word.
Yep. And then in the middle of all this, because again, all Skeletor wanted was for no one else to be able to stop him, he just fried the universal key. So they also have no way to get home.
And Gwildar's like, oh, I can't really fix this. Even if I could, it'd be almost impossible to get the coordinates down, like put in the right tune. But it turns out our boyfriend character is a bit of a music whiz, and he basically just is able to hum the tune because he heard it earlier when Gwildar was putting it in.
I hated this scene, but not even for the reasons that, like, I feel like I should. I hated the scene because he's like, oh yeah, you were playing that tune. And like, look, he was typing in 7,000 keys. If the tune kept on playing the whole time, yeah, it gets stuck in your head. I'm fine with him remembering the tune. What pissed me off is that him remembering the tune was enough for Dwelgor to go like, oh, we might actually have a chance then. All I need are these 3 materials. And he just lists off like 2 completely made up things, to which Man-at-Arms and Teal are like, oh yeah, I've got that in my pocket right here. Here you go. And it's just, and then the third one, he just gets a keyboard. That's all he needed. He just needed something to enter the keys in on, the musical tones. And I'm like, why in God's name did this thing that allows you to teleport through time and space just require 3 things, 2 of which these people just had in their pockets? Like, that feels a little bit insane to me. That's like saying, like, oh, we have the cure to cancer. It's 1 part water and 1 part lemon juice.
I mean, honestly, for me, it's just like why even make it 3 things if you're just going to make 2 of them be right there and easy, right? Just make it one thing. If that's all you're going to do is have one character go and get the one solution, then just have it be one thing. The 2 other things just feels like we're trying to make it sound fancier than it is, and that's all it is. Yeah.
You know what you do is you take some of the He-Man technology that like was stuck in the battle, like guns and stuff, or the flying discs, and you have him just take all that, scrap it, and we just take made up parts. Like, we don't even need to see what the 3 things are. Don't have the characters have the MacGuffin in their pocket the whole time.
I mean, the keyboard's fine, because if it's based on musical notes, like, oh, this is just something that can input the musical notes.
Yeah,
Easy,
whatever.
Fine.
It's the other 2 parts that are stupid.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're able to portal to Grayskull, where Skeletor's having his ascension, he's getting his fancy magical armor on and all that.
Strickland gets teleported along with because he tries to arrest them literally at the last possible minute.
Yeah, because he shows up with all this backup, and they're all like making fun of him. Oh, where's this army you said we're out here fighting? And he's like, shut up, they're here.
On one hand, yeah, okay, this whole army, like this universal-sized army disappeared. You can make fun of them for that. What you can't make fun of is the fact that the music store definitively had some sort of firefight going on. Like, that happened.
Yes, tens of thousands of dollars of equipment were definitely destroyed in that store.
And they're just like, haha, whatever. It's just one of those LA gangs, I guess.
So, yeah, I mean, honestly, the final fight is basically when Skeletor basically says, oh, I'm just going to zap all your friends. He-Man's like, oh, if that's the case, I'm breaking my chains. I will not yield. I will not bow before you. I'm going to get my sword back. I'm going to say I have the power, even though you've been in He-Man mode the whole movie, so I don't know what difference that makes. And they fight a bit. He kind of wins.
Okay.
And
I need to bring this up here. They get in. It's in front of the throne. There is still fighting going on around everyone. Apparently, Evelyn is literally just a direct adaptation of Starscream, because the moment things start going south, she's like, I'm out, I'm bailing, and I'm taking the B Squad with me. So
yep, she ditches him.
Yep, that happens. However, as the evil fight begins, it's just a lot of gloating and like boasting from Skeletor. He-Man says, enough talk. Skeletor goes, all right, let this be our final battle. And as they clash together, staff and sword, all of a sudden, things go really dark, and we're on a different set, and none of it is the same place. And I just got to call this out. They lost their funding before they filmed the final scene, and they had to come back 2 months later with 1 day of filming to do this entire final battle.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
No, that's what happened. I saw, like, I read the accounts. That is what happened.
Well, okay. Well, fair enough. I mean, it's whatever. I wasn't even thinking about logistics like that anymore at this point. I was just bored.
That's fair.
I was just trying to not fall asleep because nothing was holding my attention. And we mentioned that Courtney Cox got hurt, right? Like, that's like almost the whole driving force here at the end of the movie, is that the thing that she got zapped with is hurt her leg in such a way she's got this horrible growth, and the only thing that can fix it is maybe the magic of the sorceress back on their planet. So that's like kind of the main crux of like, hey, we have to get back here and save the sorceress so she can save Courtney Cox. And yeah, once they win the fight, and Strickland kind of helps out by like firing his gun and whatnot as well.
He's literally got a pump action shotgun against lasers, and he's winning.
Because he's Strickland. He's no slacker. He gets things done. So yeah, I mean, like, Skeletor, when he loses, still tries to like sort of get a cheap backstab afterwards anyway. So he ends up getting like thrown down the pit to his death, seemingly.
Yeah. That was one thing that I was reading about, is that Mattel, the owners of the He-Man line, were kind of super controlling. They were very micromanaging of their brand throughout the filming of this movie. And the one thing that they specifically said was, He-Man does not kill. He was not allowed to kill a single character in this movie. All of the stormtroopers are specifically shown to explode with electricity because they are robots. They are not people. So all of Skeletor's demise had to be his own failing of He-Man and their fight just happening to take place over this precarious bridge that the Emperor previously fell off of, wouldn't you know it?
Maybe if you want your character not to kill, maybe make his weapon not be a giant ass sword. just a thought.
Yeah, that's like, what do you think the kids are doing with your action figures? I've defeated you, Skeletor, with the power of friendship.
So yeah, and then basically Courtney Cox is fixed. She's been saved. The sorceress has done that. The sorceress, who was looking pretty old by the time we got there, like her age has been draining throughout the day. Now she's back to full strength. She's normal again. And it's like, hey, use the cosmic key, send everyone home. But there's a twist.
Oh, hold on. Send everybody home except Strickland, who's decided, I got a hot chick here and I don't have anything back home. So yeah, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah, he's going to live here as a king. That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But all of a sudden, apparently this cosmic key also sends you back in time, because the end of this movie is Courtney Cox waking up on the day her parents were going to die. And she, hey, no, I'm not going to stay here and study. You two are not going on a plane. Enough of that. And then they think it's a bit weird, but seemingly she stopped her death. And she runs outside. Her boyfriend's there to hug her and say, oh, your parents are alive, aren't you? I guess he also realized they went back in time.
Yeah. They're saying, like, was it all a dream? Did any of it even happen? And he opens up his hand to a gemstone that was given to him by the sorceress. And as they zoom into it, we see He-Man once again saying, I have the power.
It'd be pretty weird if it was a dream, given that both of you remember it. Just throwing that out.
It's the same universe as Inception. It's fine.
Honestly, like, it's such a lackluster. It's such a boring plot to describe as well, because there's nothing interesting at any point to stop and discuss and like, oh, this is why this part's cool, or this is what this part means, or this is how this part advances this or that. It's just going through a series of events where MacGuffin is here, this character has MacGuffin, other characters want to go there to get MacGuffin. Oh no, that MacGuffin's now been over here, so now they have to chase them to go over there to get the MacGuffin. That's all the movie is.
Yeah, no, look, I don't have a problem with the MacGuffin plot in concept, but like, it's the same sort of idea of the fish out of water. You need to have something else on top of it. You need to make it engaging in some other way. This is just boring. I do have to throw in here, because you didn't mention it, which makes me think you didn't see it. Did you stay for the post-credit scene, Pete?
Did I, hell? Of course I didn't.
It is 5 seconds. It is a single shot. Pink, murky waters steaming. All of a sudden, Frank Langella's head, as Skeletor pops up, and he says, I'll be back. And that's it.
No, he wouldn't.
Almost 40 years later.
Not him, no.
No,
Other Skeletor.
someone else.
Yep. Honestly, I mean, the big thing is like about 20 minutes in, realizing that He-Man's not even going to be really the main character of the movie was really strange, especially since I've seen the trailers for the new one. And if nothing else, the new one is definitely presenting him as the main character who's the chosen one, who's going to get the power and defeat the bad guys.
Sure. Why not? I've seen the first trailer exactly one time, and I refused to revisit until we watched the movie. All I remember is that it looked a hell of a lot like we were dropping him in California, and I'm not too happy about that.
Well, yeah, but it looks like they're dropping him in California as a child or even as a baby, and he's growing up. And it's actually more like the Mario Brothers 93, where he's come from the other world at birth, but he's going back to reclaim his power and throne as a young adult. That's
I'm still not okay with it.
I didn't say any of this was good. I'm just saying it's an interesting point of comparison.
That's fair. No, it's so like I didn't even think about that point really during the movie. I was so just dumbfounded by like how much zero plot there was. But yeah, the fact that there isn't really a main character is also just a baffling, because it's, you know, some movies can get away with doing the ensemble thing to the point where you can't point to a main character, but this one felt like it was obviously He-Man as the main character, and the fact that they made the plot so not him is baffling.
Well, the thing is that movies that are ensembles that there's no necessarily one designated main character, that's usually because they actually do a job of like giving multiple characters full arcs, so you can't really point to one and say this is the opposite, where no one has an arc and no one has any growth and no one has anything to do, so no one's a main character in like the complete opposite sense. And yeah, like there's two likely candidates: either He-Man, or you do the Transformers thing, as in the movie Transformers, where the human character, right? Yeah. And in this case, it'd be Courtney Cox as the main character, as the surrogate for all the other stuff going on, which is a bit strange, because like I get why they had to do that with Transformers, because they're the big CG robots and maybe they're too expensive to have on screen that often. So, but He-Man is still just a dude, so he could just be the main character.
No, and that's also the other side of it, of just like, when I said at the beginning, it felt like certain sections of this movie were more over polished, more overproduced. I'm mostly talking about Castle Grayskull for the most part, but like at the same time, you have an out of not making He-Man look like He-Man. Like, you don't need him to have all of this laser gun sword wielding flair. If you want to save some money, he has a transformation, and it's weird to me that they didn't take that out. That this movie was spent this whole time, and like we also brought Gwildor along, and like he had to be in full makeup and costume the whole time. Like, there's so many things they could have saved money on, and they didn't.
Yeah, poor decisions, poor script writing, and it's weird to me because like, as much as it would be a weird thing to do to make this teenager the main character, it at least feels like I can see them kind of setting that up when she first shows up. The fact that both her and Dolph Lundgren don't feel like main characters, and in fact, if anything, she feels even less than that because she gets injured and then is just like asleep, and then like, you know, and out of commission for like the last third of the movie. It's strange. You know, Dolph Lundgren, like, he disappears whilst the others are doing all the fish out of water. Oh, we're eating chicken stuff. And then he doesn't really show up again until he bumps into Courtney Cox. And by the time she bumps into him, I'm like, oh, I've not seen you in like 10, 15 minutes. It's kind of weird that you've just not been a factor in the last chunk of this movie. So it's just a really weird like story where it doesn't feel like anyone has a passion for the thing they're making. In fact, I looked up the director, Gary Goddard, and this is not a director. This is someone who has done some writing, done some producing, done some like additional crew work. But other than this movie, the only things he has directed is stuff for either like theme park videos for like rides, or maybe like a home video, like a little short that goes along with another real movie kind of thing. Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff.
I don't know how he landed this gig. I don't know how deep he was in a canon at that point, but like I mean, I hesitate to put it all on him as director. I do think there's a lot in the writing, but he was also the writer. So
yeah, well, he was uncredited writer, so he wasn't the only writer.
Fair enough.
So I guess that's worth mentioning. Other writers include David Odell and Roger Sweet. I'm going to have a quick look at these guys and see what they've got in their chest.
Roger Sweet apparently was like the guy who made the Masters of the Universe stuff. So
okay, so he's probably just getting like if not based on credit, then something like that. David Odell wrote on Dark Crystal and also the Supergirl movie. Oh, that'll be relevant for us in a little while.
Oh my god. Oh no. I mean, look, he Dark Crystal, that's something. Like, that's definitely got its fans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it, but people like it.
Yeah. Although, if you're a fan of that sort of genre.
It's actually kind of wild that it's mostly like Muppet related stuff. Look
I'm
at
noticing that. Why does he have so many Muppet Show things? 48 episodes of the Muppet Show. All right. Cool.
In fact, I mean, other than a couple of movies, it's almost just all Muppet related stuff.
I have to assume that the Muppet, because it's just a big block of Muppet stuff in 1985. I have to assume that's just video releases of the Muppet Show. Probably.
But
so, not extra writing on his part, but just happened to be credited for it.
Yeah, but he did 48 episodes of the Muppet Show though, so totally.
Oh yeah, he was around for a while.
Yeah. Didn't do a whole lot though after the early 90s.
No.
So that's what it is. Yeah. Honestly, I thought this might be at least entertainingly cheesy, and I am actually kind of gobsmacked at just how much it failed on that level. Like, I'm trying to think of something to compare it to. Obviously, we've compared it to Super Mario Brothers a couple of times. I think I know why we've compared it to that. I don't think that's exactly what I was expecting from it. I think I was expecting more. I don't know, what sort of level was I expecting from that? I'm trying to think of an 80s movie that it kind of fits alongside. I don't know.
I know what you're talking. Like, I know what you're talking about, but yeah, it's hard to exactly pin down where it's coming from. I mean, for me, I feel that same sort of thing of every time I've heard of this movie, it's been with this sort of asterisk of, yeah, it's a bad movie, but it's a fun bad movie. It's one where, like, you're going to get some level of enjoyment out of it. And I don't know what those people are smoking, because, like, I didn't. Like, this is just not an entertainingly bad movie. It's just a bad movie. The most entertainment that comes out of it is if you look at it from, like, a really, really meta perspective and view it from the idea of, like, oh, look at how badly they failed on, like, these meta levels. But from just a movie watching experience, it's a dull, boring time.
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm still trying to think of an example, but nothing's springing to mind. Yeah. I mean, when you have low expectations and your hope is like fun, cheesy bad, and it fails spectacularly even being that, despite the fact that it's right from the era where it's kind of primed to feel like that, if you have a affinity for that era, then yeah, something's went amiss. Maybe if I had seen this when I was a kid, maybe I'd have some nostalgia for elements of it, but to be honest, I mean, like, because there's definitely movies I see from this era that are cheesy that I kind of find a bit of charm in, and this script is so devoid of anything happening that any charm that is possibly there is completely eroded. So, yeah. How little I have to actually say about this is quite damning, to be honest.
It is. I wish that I could be more into it, but honest to God, this kind of just feels like an inoculation, like a primer of, like, whatever we see in theaters next week is just going to be like, well, I mean, it's technically better than that. It's technically better than the 80s one.
Oh, this is the thing. I went into this assuming this one would be the more entertaining of the two. And there's a chance, don't get me wrong, that the new one will be very bland in a modern, like, sort of MCU kind of way. But even at that, it's probably still going to be better than this.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
I'd say so.
sucks for this movie anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But hey. All right, David, what are you rating Masters of the Universe out of 10?
What am I? I'm looking back on some other ratings here. One of our lowest ones recently was Mercy. It's a very different movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't rate this as low as Mercy, I don't think.
It's close, though.
I don't think this is infuriating like Mercy. It's not as cynical. It's more just really boring bad. So it's
yeah. Look, I'm looking on here, and what I specifically am seeing is a twofer of like not a month or two old now at this point of Mind Warp and No Escape, both of which had very similar plots and both of which kind of feel just as like annoying as this movie to me. Maybe a little bit worse in some aspects. But Mercy I gave a 3.5, and I do think this one is around that 4 level. I think I'm also going to say 3.5, but like if we're ranking, this is still technically above Mercy.
Okay. Good to distinguish that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give Mercy a 2.5. I definitely think this is better than Mercy. And I think I would say it's slightly better than Mind Warp.
Okay.
I think. Is it a score above Mind Warp? I mean, I don't know if I'm saying that, but like I think if I was to pick between them, I would say this is slightly
really think about the
better.
visuals of Mind Warp, though. Like, really remember what that movie looked like.
Well, exactly. That's the point in this movie's favor.
Exactly.
So, I am going to agree with the 3.5. It was between that and a 4. That was like the...
Right. At least we can agree on exactly where we're sitting.
Yeah. That was the debate in my head. It was 3.5 and 4. There's not that much of a difference between them, all things considered, but like, I'll go with 3.5. Not good. Not good. Nope. I'm sorry to say.
Nope.
So, hey, that is that. David's got his homework in a second, but I will tell you what's coming next week on the show, but you can guess it. It is Masters of the Universe 2026. Look forward to the new He-Man with that one girl off of Riverdale and other people I'm sure on it that I've forgotten.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto, yes.
That's all I remember.
That's fine. That's all we need to remember.
Yeah. Oh, wait, Idris Elba. Because I remember thinking, he's just going to do his character from Thor again.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. You can support the Atomic Cinema Experiment over on Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, or YouTube membership as an alternative. Get access to the Ratings Rundown segments for each episode of Ace, as well as Collector's Cut. And we also do a bonus show once per month called Extra Reels, where we review some of the worst movies ever made. And honestly, this movie wouldn't have been out of place on Extra Reels.
This movie is worse than probably 25% of what we've seen on that show.
But, that sounds like fun. Thanks to everyone who does support us. It does make everything possible. But every week David goes back, checks out a movie from before he joined the show so he can eventually be caught up. And one day that will be, things like Leviathan, which an actress was in from this movie. I think that was in the Ratings Rundown. We mentioned that, so I'll just explain that. So, Evelyn, the actress, was on Leviathan with RoboCop. RoboCop punched her in the face. It was a hoot. David, what was this week's homework movie?
Well, I got to thinking about toy lines and Mattel. And obviously Barbie is not part of the Atomic Cinema Experiment.
No.
But what I was hoping I would find that is apparently not have been done yet was Battleship.
No.
Yeah, I was hoping I would be able to do that. So I decided to go with another classic game of Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which is not a direct adaptation to the movie, but may as well be of Real Steel.
You could have taken this opportunity to do the next Transformers movie that you had on the list.
I thought about it, and then I thought about it some more, and I realized that's a bad idea, Pete. I would not be here today. Real Steel, for anyone who doesn't know, Hugh Jackman, a couple other people, and it is about I think technically future is
near future, where fighting's been outlawed, and instead they just pilot robots who do the actual fighting in the ring.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about like for sport, like people still punch each other, just like out and about.
But
like
the sports has been outlawed. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's basically just a Rocky story of like, oh, this one robot they found and it's rising through the ranks, and it's all heartfelt. It's a sports movie, really, but like it's got the sci-fi elements to it that make it interesting there. And I gotta say, I really did like it. I think it's really got some charm to it. I appreciate the way that they don't over-explain the world. They don't like take too much time to say like, oh yes, back in this day, like this happened, whatever. Anything that comes out just kind of comes out through conversation, and it feels very natural because of that. All the fighting also works out well. I wouldn't say doing anything too twisty or novel. Like, it's kind of predictable in the beats that it takes, especially when it comes down to the emotional core of the character. Like, you know exactly how that's going to play out beginning to end, but it did it effectively. I appreciate. There was a review we did somewhat recently where you were throwing out the word earnest.
Yes.
And I felt that in this. It felt like it wasn't done with this sort of like, oh, we're just trying to cash in on Hugh Jackman, or we got the rights to some short story or whatever. Like, no, it just felt like they wanted to tell the story and they told it in a decent way. So overall, without blowing the bank out, I think it still is a very competent 7. Like, it's definitely worth at least one watch through if you got any sort of interest in just a nice little easy story.
Honestly, it's better than it has any right to be. Like, I remember thinking it was decent or good even when I first saw it, and then I watched it again for the show thinking, oh, I bet this isn't going to hold up very well because it's, you know, it is what it is. And I was like, yeah, well, no, it was just as good the second time as it was the first time. It's very, very well done and competent.
I had seen it once before as well, so this wasn't even a first watch through for me. But like, I it's just a movie is surprisingly just on its own. It's not like held down by pop culture references or anything like that. It doesn't feel like a studio just money grabbing. It's just its own little thing, and it works. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to believe a kid doesn't like burgers, but you know, other than that, it's
yeah. Well, there's bones in them, you see.
I get the joke you're trying to make, but there isn't.
Oh, I think I need to report my local Burger King.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Anyway, there you go. That's the show, everyone. That's the Atomic Cinema Experiment. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next week with the new Masters of the Universe. We'll see how that goes. But thank you very much once again for keeping us company. We'll see you next time. Keep watching Science Fiction and Computer at Salsa.